The most important things are rarely the loudest ones. That is the specific problem Saturday is designed to solve, and the specific problem most Saturdays fail to solve. Because when the week's structure falls away and the day opens up and the mind finally has space to breathe, it does not automatically turn toward what matters most. It turns toward what is most urgent, or most unresolved, or most anxious. It turns toward the noise that the week produced, and that is still running even though the week technically ended. And the Saturday that was supposed to provide clarity about what matters becomes another container for the week's loudness, without the week's structure to give the loudness any direction. Refocusing is not a discipline the mind performs on itself. It is a gift received from the outside. The mind that has been occupied by the week's noise cannot generate the clarity about what matters from within the noise. It needs a different vantage point, a perspective that is not located inside the urgency, a voice that is not competing with the loudness, but is genuinely quieter and genuinely more true than anything the noise has been saying. That voice belongs to God. And this Saturday morning prayer is where you come to hear it before the day has filled with everything else. This is Saturday, April 18th, a day with different architecture than the week. No agenda that was assigned by anyone else. No inbox asserting its claims. No calendar enforcing its sequence. Just the open space of a Saturday morning. And open space is either received as a gift or immediately filled with the loudest available thing. The refocused mind receives it as the gift it is. The unfocused mind lets the noise expand to fill it. His word declares in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verse 33, to seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Seek first. Not after the urgent things have been addressed. Not after the week's unfinished business has been processed. First, before the Saturday has set its own agenda. The God-centered seeking, placed first in the morning, changes what everything else in the day looks like when seen from the vantage point of that seeking. Before we enter this prayer, write in the comments right now, Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. Write it as the deliberate choice to receive the refocusing before the day's noise has had a chance to establish itself as the operating center. Like this video, as an act of choosing the signal over the noise, subscribe to this channel so we can begin every morning together, especially the Saturdays when the open space could go either direction. And share this prayer with someone who needs a refocused Saturday more than they need a productive one. Now let us bring the scattered mind before the one who focuses it. Lord my God and my Father, I come before you on this Saturday morning, and I bring the scattered attention that the week produced. The mind that went in multiple directions simultaneously for 5 days does not automatically collect itself when the week ends. The scattering was real. The attention that was divided between the urgent and the important, and the anxious and the relational and the administrative, is still divided. And the Saturday morning that opens in front of me is being received by a person whose focus is in multiple places at once, rather than gathered around what actually matters most. Gather me, Lord, not into an emptiness, into you, into the perspective that sees this day from where you see it, into the clarity that only comes from having brought the scattered interior before the one who knows what belongs at the center and what does not. Before this Saturday has had its first claim on my attention, before the open space fills with whatever arrives first, gather me here, in this prayer. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 86, verse 11, to teach me your way, Lord, that I may rely on your faithfulness. Give me an undivided heart, that I may fear your name, an undivided heart. That is the opposite of the scattered attention the week produced. Not the heart that has been pulled in every direction by every demand. The undivided heart, the heart that has been gathered around one center, one faithfulness, one perspective that holds everything else in its proper place. An undivided heart is not the product of having fewer things in life. It is the product of having one clear center that gives everything else its proper location relative to that center. Teach me your way, Lord. Give me the undivided heart, not the one that has successfully managed to have no competing demands, the one that has brought all the competing demands before God and received the clarity about what actually matters most. Father, I want to be honest about what loses focus most easily on a Saturday. The people, not the tasks, not the agenda, not the list of what the weekend needs to accomplish. The people who are actually present in the day. The family member who is in the same house, but who the scattered mind moves around rather than toward. The conversation that could happen, but that would require the interior to actually be present enough to initiate it. The child who is asking for attention that the preoccupied mind offers in the distracted form, technically present but not really there, and who knows the difference even if they cannot articulate it. The week's noise competes with the people. And the week's noise, if it is allowed to run undisturbed through the Saturday, wins, not because the person loves the people less than the noise, because the noise is louder. And louder wins when there is no deliberate act of refocusing. The refocused mind hears what the noise was drowning out. The person who came with something to share and was waiting for a moment of genuine reception. The need that has been present all week and that the Saturday morning is the first real opportunity to address. The connection that is available in the open architecture of a Saturday in a way that the week's structure never allowed. Your word declares in the book of Mark, chapter 12, verse 30, that the greatest commandment is to love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. And the second is like it, love your neighbor as yourself, all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, all your strength. That is not the description of a scattered love, a gathered love. The undivided heart directed toward God and then toward the person in front of it. Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. And Father, I want to ask for something that the undivided heart specifically enables in the relational moments today. Not just the sustained attention, the quality of reception, the ability to receive what the other person is actually offering rather than filtering it through the interior noise that would otherwise be running. Because the scattered mind does not just give partial attention, it receives partially. The message that is being offered reaches a receiver that is not fully open, and something in the exchange is lost because the reception was incomplete. The refocused mind receives fully. The thing offered actually lands. The person sharing something feels received in a way that the distracted version of the listener could not produce. And in that full reception, something real is exchanged. Not the performance of listening, but the actual thing. Your word declares in the book of Proverbs, chapter 20, verse 5, that the purposes of a person's heart are deep waters, but one who has insight draws them out. That is the gift the fully present, refocused person gives to the people they are with. Not just the patience to hear, the insight to draw out, the quality of attention that makes the other person feel safe enough to share what is actually there rather than the socially acceptable surface version. That is a rare gift. Most people offer the surface reception. The refocused person offers the deep one. Let me give that today, Lord, to whoever shares this Saturday with me, the deep water drawn out, because someone was present enough to draw it. And Father, I want to ask for something about the open space of this Saturday that goes beyond how the time is used. I want to ask for the courage to receive it as gift rather than converting it immediately into productivity. Because the culturally trained instinct, especially for the person who has been working hard all week, is to treat the open space as an opportunity to get ahead, to do the things that could not be done during the week, to prepare for the week coming, to use the Saturday's freedom to reduce the next Monday's load. That instinct is not wrong, but it can consume what the Saturday was actually for. The open space has a different purpose than the week's packed schedule. It was not designed to be the week's overflow container. It was designed to be the resetting space, the place where the soul recovers what the week spent, where the person remembers who they are when they are not being produced by their obligations, where the interior returns to something more natural than the constrained version the demands of the week require. Let me receive that today, Lord. The Saturday as Saturday, not as Monday preparation, not as the week's extension, the day that belongs to a different kind of rhythm, the kind that restores rather than advances, that receives rather than produces. That matters not because of what it generates, but because of what it allows back in. Your word declares in the book of Mark, chapter 2, verse 27, that the Sabbath was made for man, not man for the Sabbath. Made for man, for the benefit of the person, not as a requirement to manage, but as a gift to receive. The rest and the refocusing and the clarity about what matters that Saturday offers are not obligations, they are provisions. The God who knows what people need built the rhythm of rest into the structure of the week precisely because he knew that the continuous forward motion of a demanding life would deplete what required periodic restoration. Receive the provision today, Lord, not just the idea of it, the actual rest, the actual restoration, the actual Saturday that was made for you, not the presence of a person who is available but distracted. The presence of someone who came here this morning and gave the noise to God and received in its place the undivided heart that makes genuine connection possible. That is what the people in my house are going to receive today. Not a managed version of my attention, the actual thing. Lord, I want to pray now about what clarity on what matters looks like in the practical hours of this Saturday. Clarity is not busyness, and this distinction matters for a Saturday. The busy Saturday, the one that has filled every hour with activity and accomplishment and crossed off lists, is not necessarily the meaningful Saturday. It can be a form of the week continuing without acknowledgement that the week is over. Activity as the avoidance of the harder, quieter, more important things that a Saturday could offer if the person were willing to receive them. Clarity about what matters produces a different kind of Saturday, not necessarily a less active one. An active one whose activity is chosen from the perspective of what is actually important, rather than from the perspective of what is available to do. The activity that makes the people in it feel received. The project that has been waiting, not because it is urgent, but because it matters. The conversation that has been deferred because of the week's pace, and that this Saturday is the right time for. The moment of genuine stillness that the week never offered, and that the open architecture of Saturday makes possible. There is a scene in the book of Luke, chapter 10, that belongs in this Saturday prayer. Martha and Mary. Martha was busy with many things. Distracted, actually, is the word the text uses, many things. And she came to Jesus frustrated that Mary was not helping with any of them. Jesus said to her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed only one. Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken from her. Many things, worried and upset. That is the description of the busy Saturday that has lost its focus. Few things are needed, or indeed only one. That is the refocused Saturday, the one where the clarity about what matters has reduced the scattered many to the essential few. And the essential few are not the tasks. They are the presence, the connection, the being with. The thing that, unlike the activity, will not be taken away. Your word declares in the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1, that there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. A time for everything, including rest, including presence, including the conversation that needs to happen, including the stillness that the soul requires. The wisdom is not in maximizing every hour, it is in receiving each hour as what it is. And Saturday morning has a specific character that the refocused mind can receive and the scattered mind will miss. Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. Father, I want to ask for something specific about the clarity this Saturday needs. Not the clarity about the most efficient use of the day, the clarity about the most faithful use of it. The difference between those two standards is the difference between a Saturday that was productive and a Saturday that was real. The faithful use of this Saturday might not look impressive from the outside. It might look like a slower morning than usual, a conversation that took longer than expected, but that arrived somewhere real by the end of it. A moment of noticing something that had been moving past without being noticed. An act of presence that was not remarkable but was genuinely offered. These things are not the material of a productive Saturday, but they are the material of a Saturday that meant something, that was actually lived rather than processed. Your word declares in the book of Micah, chapter 6, verse 8, that what is required is to act justly, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. 3 things, not a list of 20. 3, act justly, love mercy, walk humbly. That is the faithful Saturday structure, not the maximally productive one, the justly acting, mercy-loving, humbly walking one, the one that brought its scattered attention to God in the morning and received in return the clarity about what those 3 things actually look like in the specific hours of a specific April Saturday. What does justice look like today? It looks like being fair with the people who share this day, giving them the honest version of the person rather than the managed version. What does mercy look like today? It looks like receiving the imperfections of the people in this house with the same grace that was received from God in this morning prayer. What does walking humbly look like today? It looks like a person who does not have the Saturday's significance all figured out and is willing to discover it as the day unfolds rather than managing it from a predetermined agenda. That is the refocused Saturday, Lord. The one that lives from clarity about what matters rather than from the loudness of what is available. And I want to ask for the specific grace that makes the faithful Saturday possible rather than merely desirable. Because the description of the just, merciful, humble Saturday is appealing in the morning prayer and genuinely difficult in the afternoon when the practical demands of a day with open space start asserting themselves. The child who needs something at the exact moment the stillness was beginning. The unexpected complication that consumes the hour that was supposed to be quiet. The conversation that goes longer than anticipated and reorganizes the entire day's loose structure. The faithful use of the Saturday does not require perfect conditions. It requires the orientation that was established in this prayer to hold through the imperfect conditions. The Micah standard, act justly, love mercy, walk humbly, is not the standard for a day that goes according to plan. It is the standard for the day that does not. Because the just response to the unexpected interruption is itself an act of faithfulness. The merciful reception of the person whose need reorganized your morning is itself the mercy-loving. The humble acknowledgement that the Saturday was not entirely yours to plan is itself the walking humbly. Your word declares in the book of James, chapter 1, verse 4, that perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything, not lacking anything. That is the maturity of the person who has practiced receiving the interrupted Saturday as faithfully as the uninterrupted one, who has learned that the refocused Saturday is not primarily about the agenda going well. It is about the person remaining gathered around what matters through whatever the agenda produces. Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. Father, as this prayer closes, I want to receive something about the end of this Saturday. At the end of a Refocus Saturday, what will have happened is not the maximally efficient version of the day. The inbox will not be empty. The list will not be fully crossed off. The week's unresolved things will still have some unresolved parts. What will have happened is something else. The person will have actually been in their Saturday, not in the week's residue, not in next week's anticipation, in this specific, unrepeatable April Saturday, with its specific people and its specific opportunities and its specific small moments of grace that only the refocused mind can collect. That collection is not nothing. It is the accumulated evidence of a life that was actually lived, the conversations that happened because the attention was gathered, the connection that was made because the noise was given to God, the moment of noticing that became a moment of receiving because the interior was open enough to receive what was there. Your word declares in the book of Psalms, chapter 118, verse 24, that this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. This day, this one, not the idealized version of a Saturday with fewer complications, this one, the one that began with a scattered mind and is ending with a refocused one, the one that had open space and filled it with something more real than the week's continuing noise, the one where the people felt the presence of someone who came back to them from the noise. Be glad in this day, Lord. That is what I am asking for, not the gladness of a perfect Saturday, the gladness of a real one. The one that was refocused toward what matters and then received in that clarity. The day the Lord made, received as the gift it was. And I want to close with something about Sunday, because Sunday is one day away, and the person who receives this Saturday well arrives at Sunday morning differently than the person who let the noise run through it. The refocused Saturday produces a more open Sunday. The person who spent Saturday being present to what mattered arrives at Sunday with less residue to bring to God. The clearing that began in this prayer and continued through the actual refocused day produces a different quality of Sabbath rest. Your word declares in the book of Genesis, chapter 2, verse 2 through 3, that by the seventh day God had finished the work he had been doing, and he rested. And God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because on it he rested from all the work of creating that he had done. He rested from all the work. The rest was complete, not partial, not interrupted by the work's continuing claims. God finished, and he rested from the finished work. That is the rest available at the end of a Saturday that was received well. The work of the week was given to God in this morning prayer. The Saturday was lived in the clarity of what matters. And the Sunday that follows is the rest of someone who has actually stopped, come tomorrow, Lord, into a Sunday that is already being prepared by the Saturday that is receiving this prayer. Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. That is the declaration this Saturday begins from. The scattered attention is gathered. The noise has been given to God. The clarity about what matters has been received. And the day is open, ready to be the kind of Saturday that is not produced by efficiency, but by focus. The day that is fully lived. The day that is actually given to what it was made for. To everyone who prayed with me this morning, go back to the comments and write it one final time. Lord, refocus my mind today. Show me what truly matters and let me live from that clarity. Return to that when the day tries to scatter the focus the prayer established. Subscribe to this channel and come back tomorrow morning. We are here every day, including the Sundays that receive what the Refocus Saturday prepared. Share this prayer with someone whose Saturday needs a different kind of start than the week's continuation. What you send might change what their whole weekend becomes. May the Lord gather your scattered attention today into the undivided heart that the things worth receiving require. May the clarity about what matters guide every choice about how this Saturday's open space is used. May the people who share your day feel the presence of someone who came to them from God's perspective rather than from the week's noise. And may this Saturday be the kind that is actually lived, the kind that will be remembered not for what was accomplished, but for what was actually there. In Jesus' name, amen.